My younger brother, John, always fantasized about being a girl since he was a child. When he grew up, he secretly went abroad for gender affirmation surgery. My mother, Maria, who was extremely patriarchal and favored sons above all, went completely insane. She grabbed his manhood, determined to sew it back on with a needle. I tried to reason with her, telling her to be more open-minded, but she stole my bank card to pay for John's cure. Furious, I went online and found a match for my brother. When John finally brought a tall, muscular man home, my mother utterly collapsed. "Mom, Dad, this is my boyfriend," John said shyly, clinging to the tall, muscular man beside him. The man, dressed in black with a mature face, greeted them. "Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Song." Standing beside them, I couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. My mother, Maria, gasped for breath, pointing a trembling finger at John. "You wretched child, do you want to die?" Overwhelmed with rage, she fainted on the spot. The entire household instantly plunged into chaos. I looked on coldly, then walked straight into my room. The man my brother brought home, Alex, was surprisingly reliable. He gently picked up Maria and carried her to the hospital. My father, Robert, stood on the balcony, puffing on a cigarette, pretending to be deaf to everything. This all stemmed from the day John went for gender affirmation surgery. Maria had flipped over the table, collapsed onto the floor, and sobbed hysterically. I urged her to be more open-minded, but she accused me of being the instigator. "Mom, don't hit John anymore. If this is what he wants, we can only accept it." Maria shoved my hand away and slapped me hard across the face. "Who gave you permission to speak, you wretched girl? It's all your fault, again and again. Why didn't you stop your brother? Are you trying to kill him? Tell me, did you instigate him? Are you jealous that he has a male organ and you don't, so you tricked him into getting rid of it?" I clutched my face, my heart turning to ashes, cold and lifeless. John quickly interjected, "It has nothing to do with my sister. I wanted to do it myself, she didn't know." Maria crawled back onto the floor, clutching John's shoulders, weeping. "Son, tell Mom, did that wretched girl put you up to this? Don't be afraid, Mom will definitely teach her a lesson." John desperately shook his head. "Right, no matter what mistake my brother made, from childhood to adulthood, wasn't I always the one who bore the blame? Even if John said it had nothing to do with me, Maria would intentionally pin it on me. Even now, with my brother no longer a son, in the traditional sense, it couldn't change his position in her heart. I always knew my brother fantasized about being a girl since he was little. He didn't like toy cars, only cloth dolls. He never played basketball with boys, preferring to jump rope with girls. I advised him to be honest with our parents. In middle school, he gathered all his courage and spoke out, only to be locked in the garage by my father for a week. I never expected him to be so extreme. Right after his university entrance exams, he fled abroad for gender affirmation surgery. That night, he was again locked in the garage by Robert. In the middle of the night, I was awakened by screams and cries. Rushing to the garage, I saw Maria holding a bloody piece of flesh, blood still dripping drip-drip. With her other hand, she held a needle and thread, frantically pulling down John's pants, muttering, "Don't be scared, don't be scared. Mom will sew this back on for you and it'll be all right. Just sew it back on and it will grow back. It's okay, you're still Mom's son. Our John still has his precious manhood." John shrieked, pushing her away, scrambling backward in terror, his voice distorted. Maria, with a strength I didn't know she possessed, this small rural woman, grabbed John's leg and dragged him back, her face twisted in deranged madness. I frantically ran to knock on Robert's door, but there was no answer. There was no thunderous snoring from his room. Robert was inside, feigning death. I thought of calling the neighbors, but then John's secret would be out. In less than a day, the entire village would know. I gritted my teeth and burst into the garage, grabbed Maria's arm, and dragged her out. Seeing me, Maria grew even more frantic, turning and biting hard into my arm. The pain made me release her, and I yanked her hair to free myself. She clamped down, refusing to let go, only releasing her bite after tearing off a piece of my flesh. My arm was gushing blood. As I tried to escape, she shoved me down and pinned me to the ground. She repeatedly stabbed me with the needle, cursing as she did so. "You damned wretch, it's all your fault, all of it. If it weren't for you, how could John have ended up like this? If he craves women, couldn't you have just found him someone to mess around with? You forced him to do this. It's all because of you. Why don't you just die? I endured the physical pain, but it was nothing compared to the agony in my heart. John screamed and rushed forward, kicking Maria away. She hit the wall and went limp. John pulled me into his arms, burying his head and sobbing uncontrollably. "I'm sorry, big sister, I'm so sorry." I, however, couldn't shed a single tear. "My name is Daisy. My younger brother is John. I was born, and 2 minutes later my mother named me Daisy, meaning calling for a younger brother. When John was born, my father lit 10 strings of firecrackers. The whole family held him, coaxing and doting on him. My tiny frame was busy running around, washing diapers, mixing milk formula, cooking meals. I had learned to do these things by age 5. A chicken has 2 drumsticks, but from childhood to adulthood, I never once got to eat a drumstick. If my brother caught a cold, the whole family would rush him to the county hospital. When I had a fever of 40 degrees Celsius, I still had to tutor my brother. If John hadn't cried and told Mom I was dying, I probably would have truly died that year. My brother was a poor student, but my mother would say, "Boys have potential. They'll surely do better than girls in school later." I was always top of my class, yet my mother pulled me out of school before I even graduated middle school. Her exact words were, "What's the point of a girl studying so many books? She'll just be a money pit anyway. Start working early, earn some money, and you can help the family." Back then, I was young and stubbornly argued back, only to be met with more ridicule. Look at you feeling sorry for yourself. It's already good enough that a girl like you gets to eat and wear clothes. You're grown now. Do you seriously expect me to pay for you to go to university? Don't even dream of it. The family's money is for your brother to get married later. Not a single penny will be spent on you. A son can carry on the family line. He can take care of us in our old age. Can you compare to him? "Mom, my brother can't carry on the family line for you anymore. What are you going to do now?" I no longer felt any attachment to this family. The next day, I packed my bags, preparing to leave. I had returned this time for John's university acceptance celebration. Given the current situation, a celebration was certainly out of the question. I relied on my diligent hands to open a small restaurant in the county town. Business was neither too much nor too little, enough for me to live comfortably. Now was the time to leave this place of endless drama. The next day, I discovered my bank card, which I kept in my pocket, was missing. It was all too clear who had stolen it. I stormed straight into Maria's room. She was lying in bed, startled by my sudden entry. Seeing my furious demeanor, she flinched for a moment, then pretended as if nothing had happened. "You damned wretch, do you want to die? Haven't you harmed your brother enough? Do you want to kill your old mother too? Aren't you afraid of retribution?" I retorted, "The one who truly harmed my brother is you. What does it have to do with me? I started working at 12 years old. If you want to blame someone, don't blame me." Maria was stunned, speechless. She had never seen me like this before. In her eyes, I was merely a soft persimmon, easily manipulated, a silent trash can for her to vent her anger. She muttered curses, then crawled out of bed, intending to slap me. I firmly grabbed her wrist with one hand and slammed her back onto the bed. "I don't have time to argue with you. Give me back my card. From now on, I won't call you mother. Just pretend you never had a daughter." Maria trembled with rage, clutching the bedside cabinet, her trembling finger pointing at me. "You wretch, you little wretch." At that moment, Robert walked into the room, raising his hand and swinging it. I thought he was going to hit me. Reflexively, I closed my eyes and dodged, but instead heard Maria's pathetic scream. "Old Robert, why are you hitting me? Shouldn't you be hitting this beast?" "I'm hitting you. You're the one who turned my son into this. I won't let you get away with this, you rotten woman." This was the first time I had ever seen Robert so fierce. From childhood to adulthood, whenever mother disciplined me, he always remained silent. Maria always told outsiders how well Robert treated her, kind, thoughtful, and loving. Everyone believed they were an affectionate couple for many years. Robert smiled at me for the first time. "Daughter, you see the state your brother is in now. We have to cure him, right? Who knows, maybe he can be cured. Our family is short on money, so just let your brother use yours first." My heart was completely still, without a single tremor. If John wants to be cured, tell him to come borrow money from me himself. Otherwise, no one should touch my hard-earned money." Maria let out a sneering laugh, a triumphant look on her face. "You act so mighty, but don't worry, I've already withdrawn the 300,000 from your card." With that, she pulled the card from Robert's pant pocket and flung it onto the floor in front of me. "You wanted it back, didn't you? Here it is. But that 300,000 belongs to the Song family." These two were truly leeches. Once money was in their hands, there was no hope of getting it back. My head spun with rage. If I couldn't get the money back, at least I could vent my anger. I grabbed the iron rod from the corner of the room and struck Maria. Maria shrieked in fear, scrambling wildly on the bed. "Daisy, you've gone mad, you damned wretch, how dare you?" Ah! In a flash, Maria couldn't dodge, taking 2 hard blows from my iron rod. Robert rushed forward, trying to snatch the rod from my hand. I couldn't match the strength of a strong man and was kicked to the ground. Maria, hurting and terrified, lay on the bed, wailing miserably. Oh heavens, this is an uprising, a daughter daring to hit her old mother. Ancestors, Maria is unfilial, I raised such a beast. Why didn't I just strangle her back then? Robert, still not appeased, was about to kick me again when John blocked him. "All right, don't blame my sister anymore. Give her back the money." Maria quickly scrambled up. "You fool, that money is for your asterisk treatment. Haven't I told you countless times? If you all keep acting like this, I'll jump off a building." With that, ignoring Maria's curses, John pulled me up from the ground, and we left. I spoke to John sincerely. "Brother, have you really thought through the consequences of gender affirmation surgery?" John nodded resolutely. "I've never been so resolute. Honestly, big sister, I've always felt like a girl, and I also like men." I gasped in surprise but didn't say much. After a long moment I sighed, "I'll help you escape this family." John shook his head. "Sister, I don't need your help. Mom and Dad may not like you, but they won't truly harm me. From childhood until now, I've always felt so guilty towards you. If I ever succeed later, I will definitely repay you. You should hurry and leave. I'll find a way to steal that 300,000 back for you." The more he spoke, the more anxious he became, eager to steal the money from me immediately. I stroked his head. "You good child. Didn't Maria value this son above all else? Then let her truly experience the feeling of her beloved son turning into a girl." The next day, I asked Liam to play matchmaker for my brother. Liam was overjoyed, finding 17 or 18 young men for me to choose from. John blushed and chose Alex, a man with a dark, mature face. I arranged for them to meet. Soon after, the two began dating. Alex was a reliable man. When Maria was hospitalized, he busied himself with all the arrangements. The doctor said she had mild mental disorder due to a severe shock in a short period and would likely recover with good rest and recuperation. When Maria woke up and saw Alex and John standing side by side, chatting intimately, she was so enraged she fainted again. This cycle continued, waking up, fainting, then waking again. After several days, she was finally discharged. John continued dating Alex. Maria's weeping, tantrums, and even attempts to hang herself were all in vain. John was determined to resist. Robert was utterly disappointed in his son, feeling he had disgraced him. He stopped coming home for days at a time and was no longer attentive or caring towards Maria. The elderly couple, who had outwardly displayed affection their whole lives, had a huge fight just days earlier. Maria was beaten black and blue and no longer dared to control her husband. When I heard these things, I returned to the county town to continue my work. Her marriage crumbling, her precious son having lost his manhood and now refusing to obey her, and her daughter no longer acknowledging her as mother. Maria completely lost her mind. That day, she locked John in the garage again. John desperately pounded on the door, wanting to get out. "Mom, please let me out. Let me go." "Don't you dare. You want to go see him again, don't you? I'm telling you, give up that thought. The two of you will be together only over my dead body." Maria frantically hit the garage door, then suddenly collapsed to the ground, crying pitifully. "Oh, John, you are the root of the Song family, my precious seedling. Don't be foolish anymore, I beg you, let me cure you, all right." "Mom, you don't need to persuade me anymore. I won't be cured." John pounded on the door until he was exhausted and collapsed to the ground. Maria wiped her tears. Good boy, you've been bewitched by that wretched sister of yours. Just stay here for 2 days until your mind clears. Mom will come pick you up in 2 days. With that, she left. The garage had no windows. John was plunged into darkness. Alex waited until late that night but didn't see John. He called John, but there was no answer, and his texts went unreplied. He vaguely sensed something was wrong and rushed to the house to find John. Fearing a confrontation with Maria, Alex climbed over the back wall into the yard. Just then, he heard John's cries for help from a crack in the garage door. "John, is that you? Are you in there?" "It's me, Alex, you've come to save me." John was so happy he burst into tears. "Don't be afraid. I'll go find your mother and get the key right away." Maria came out wielding a broom, chasing Alex away. "Get out. What does this wretch have to do with you? John is my son. Is it your turn to tell me what to do? Get out now, or I'll call the police." Alex was also stubborn, insisting that Maria release John. Maria was not one to be reasoned with. An iron rod and a duster were her weapons of choice. Alex dared not fight back and was eventually beaten and chased out of the house. He made up his mind, bought a barrel of gasoline and some straw, and set the house on fire. The fire grew larger and larger, black smoke billowed, and the sky turned a fiery red. The entire neighborhood gathered. John was finally rescued. Alex was also arrested amidst Maria's frantic screams. I was urgently called back home. Alex was sentenced to 4 years in prison for arson. The house was almost completely burned down. I didn't concern myself with Maria and Robert, only taking John to stay in a hotel in the county. After this incident, the neighbors began gossiping about John's gender affirmation. Maria, hearing this, furiously cursed people for 3 days and 3 nights, eventually resorting to physical violence and being administratively detained for 10 days. I couldn't be bothered with her. Her being in jail filled me with immense joy. Only John hadn't eaten or drunk for days, his body emaciated, his hair disheveled. I advised him to be more open-minded. After all, he still had university to attend in September. I sighed, transferred some money to him, and continued running my small restaurant. Away from Maria, my mood was incredibly good. I introduced a few new dishes, and my restaurant's business improved day by day. Robert had an affair. The third party was Mr. Lee's daughter from down the street, rumored to be about my age. After Maria was released from prison, her madness worsened. Midday was the busiest time at the restaurant. I was swamped in the kitchen, barely able to breathe. Suddenly, the worried-faced receptionist rushed in. "Sister, it's not good. A madwoman is causing trouble at the restaurant." I ran out to see. Maria was sitting on the ground in front of the restaurant, legs splayed, wailing. "Oh, my ill-fated son. Oh, my heartless daughter. She can't even stay peaceful in prison. Out of prison, she wants to wreak havoc everywhere." The customers inside the restaurant stopped eating, turning their heads to eavesdrop. Outside, more and more people gathered to watch. I told the 2 burly men in the kitchen to throw Maria out. Maria saw me, her eyes bloodshot, glaring at me with malice. This white-eyed wolf is the one who harmed her brother, harmed my entire family. I signaled for them to stop and walked up to Maria. "So, tell me, how did I harm my brother?" Maria stammered, hesitant, refusing to elaborate. "John's dirty laundry, go on, tell everyone. What did I do to my brother?" Maria was furious and ashamed. "How dare you ask? I don't even dare to say. You know best what you did. My family had a healthy son. If it weren't for your evil heart, how could he have ended up like this? Everyone come and see. This restaurant owner abuses her parents, harms her siblings, abuses her own mother. Look, this is proof she hit me." Maria called out to the onlookers, rolling up her sleeve to reveal her arm. It was a wrinkled arm with no marks other than age spots. "Where's the injury?" someone in the crowd asked. Maria pointed to a faint, almost invisible mark. "Here, this wretched girl scalded me with tea that day, and here, I hit her and she hit me back and made me bleed." The crowd, seeing nothing interesting, began to disperse. Maria anxiously cried out, "Don't go, everyone! Help me curse this harlot! Don't leave!" I couldn't be bothered to watch her act and told the men to throw her out. Maria lay sprawling on the ground outside the entrance, muttering to herself. "Impossible, impossible. That wretched girl has the most malicious heart. How could she be good to me? It's all for my money to steal the money I saved for her brother. She's jealous that her brother has a male organ. She's jealous that she isn't the hope of the Song family. Yes, that must be it. You damned wretch, a mere girl trying to compete with John. I stood before Maria. She didn't seem to see me, talking to herself. I looked down from above, and after a long moment I asked, "Mother, in your eyes, are daughters truly so lowly? I started working to earn money before I even graduated middle school to please you to help the family. I worked 3 jobs a day, toiling day and night, saving hundreds of thousands. I am not inferior to any man." Maria cursed me. "Pa, you damned wretch, what do you know? Women are born to depend on men. You destroyed this family, you ruined your brother, harming him so he's neither man nor woman now. You won't die peacefully either. I'm telling you, if you marry into a family where your maternal home has no sons who will respect you, just wait to be bullied to death, you heartless creature, retribution will come for you sooner or later." Maria cruelly insulted me, as if I were her sworn enemy of generations. "But Mom, your maternal family had sons, and you still served our father like a maid your whole life. Weren't you still looked down upon? Such a marriage is absolutely not what I want." I didn't argue back anymore, turned and walked away. If she ever dared to enter my restaurant again, I would beat her every time I saw her. The house was gradually rebuilt, and John had also returned home. I heard that Maria no longer demanded a cure for John. Instead, she now went out early and returned late every day, researching something called Wheel of Fortune cult in a dilapidated house at the east end of the street. I couldn't be bothered to care. I was busy opening branches in the province. My restaurant business was thriving. I was preparing to hire a new team to open a chain of stores in the province. By then, I would truly leave these people behind and never return. As for the 300,000, I would consider it an allowance for John's university education. After all, my brother himself never truly harmed me. On the contrary, when our parents used to hit me as a child, he would shield me. We couldn't be close, but at least we wouldn't resent each other. Robert was infatuated with his mistress and insisted on divorcing Maria. Maria, of course, refused. Initially, they fought and caused trouble daily, even going so far as for Maria to bring a knife to the mistress's house, threatening to stab her. If Robert hadn't blocked a knife for his mistress, she would have been killed. But ever since Maria started following the Wheel of Fortune cult, she stopped harassing them, yet still stubbornly refused to divorce and wouldn't meet Robert. Now only John was left in the house. I didn't want to go back. I had barely escaped. I wouldn't get involved in their affairs. Seeing my account balance grow, my heart felt more content than anything. John didn't want to bother me and found a part-time job in town during his summer break. I heard that he visited Alex in prison every few days, and his eyes were always red when he left. Not long after, he enrolled in university. His homeroom teacher had called me privately to confirm his health status. I assured them multiple times that there would be no issues. Only then was John successfully admitted. His choice to undergo gender affirmation was a personal right that an independent individual should have, unrelated to anyone else. John didn't contact me often. Each time he called, he only spoke of awards he had received or his ranking in his major in the entire department, things like that. I bought a 3-bedroom, 1-living-room apartment in the provincial city and offered to have him visit, but he flatly refused. He said, "Sister, our family has wronged you. It's enough for you to live well on your own outside. You don't need to worry about anything. I just hope you are happy." Maria was detained again. The elderly people in town were furious, cursing loudly and calling the police. Everyone screamed for their money back. "You said invest 100, get 1,000 back. Maria, you're a fraud. Give me back my hard-earned money. Give it back, or I'll strip you naked." Maria cowered in her room, trembling with fear. How was she to know she had been deceived? She had poured all her savings of many years into the Wheel of Fortune cult, but the Taoist master who had promised to help her cure her husband had run off with the money. Now her husband still hadn't returned home, and all her money was gone. Maria lay on the ground, sobbing desperately. A group of police officers arrived and dragged her out. The elderly people swarmed forward, one after another, accusing Maria of her crimes. With investigations, everything became clear. Maria had believed the scammer, who claimed that spreading the Wheel of Fortune cult could make the immortals hear prayers. Recently, her son had lost his precious manhood, her daughter was like a madwoman, and her husband no longer wanted her. Maria felt like she was being boiled in oil and almost immediately believed him. She left early and returned late, deceiving the townspeople out of their money to spread the teachings. The result was that the scammer ran off with the money, leaving Maria with a mountain of debt. Robert rushed back from his mistress's house, grabbed a stick, and swung it violently at Maria. The deceived villagers also charged forward, and Maria was beaten unconscious. Maria was ultimately sentenced to 7 years in prison for spreading an illegal cult and illegal fundraising. Robert immediately divorced her. A year later, Robert, drunk from his mistress's house, stumbled home and fell into a ditch by the roadside. By the time people discovered he was missing, his body was already floating on the water. John returned home to handle the funeral. I bowed from a distance, burned ghost money, then turned and left. 3 years later, John graduated from university, and Alex was released from prison. John's university academic performance was excellent, and his body had recovered to normal. He found a high-paying job in a city 2,000 kilometers away from home and from me. His wardrobe was full of women's clothes he bought for himself, but he usually wore a neutral style. The day he went to pick up Alex, John wore women's clothing for the first time. Several years later, Maria was released from prison. Like a poisonous snake, she tracked John down at his workplace, barging in without hesitation and collapsing at his feet. "Son, Mom suffered so much looking for you. Son, why didn't you visit Mom?" John tried to pull her up, not wanting her to cause any more embarrassment. Colleagues looked on curiously. Maria, like a stubborn, gloomy earthworm, squirmed on the floor. "Your sister is a beast. She doesn't care about her mother anymore. Son, you can't abandon Mom too. I've divorced your father. Now you're my only hope, son." Seeing that she couldn't be silenced, John decided to take a chance and spoke directly. "Back then, you treated my sister worse than a dog in the house, beating and cursing her without fail. Did you expect her to care for and support you in your old age? Mom, you will always be my mother, but I lost all affection for you a long time ago. You outwardly showed me love, but you never met my emotional needs. I don't resent you, but please, stop trying to control me." John said this and tried to help Maria out, but she struggled frantically, her hair disheveled, crying and laughing at the same time. "I don't believe you're my real son. Take off your pants, I want to see." With that, she madly squatted down, reaching out to pull down John's pants. John was caught off guard and couldn't dodge in time, but then someone pulled him back. Immediately after, there was Maria's pathetic scream. Alex kicked Maria into the corner of the wall. After comforting John, he directly carried the unconscious Maria out. Maria woke up, and seeing Alex, she completely collapsed. She ran around the apartment complex gate, screaming hysterically, "My son lost his manhood." Alex knocked her unconscious again and took her back to the countryside. After divorcing her husband, her son was Maria's last straw. She always believed that somewhere out there was the greatest pride of her life, her obedient, understanding son, who would later have children, carry on the family line, and maintain the ancestral incense. After this great commotion, realizing that her son had truly become a woman in this life and could not continue the family line, the last thread in her heart completely snapped. Alex and John paid off her debts in the countryside, but every few days she would try to steal other people's sons, from young men in their 20s to newborn babies. Wherever a little boy appeared, there was Maria. If any house had a crying son, merely mentioning Maria's name was more effective than any local ghost for scaring them. Maria became a complete madwoman in her hometown, and not long after, she was ostracized by everyone and confined to bed for 5 years. Illness and mental torment left her emaciated. She took John's hand and begged for a gentle death. The son she cherished most her entire life, John, accompanied her on her final journey. I, however, never set foot in that house again. At 30 years old, I changed my name to Daisy Song. My career was successful, my life fulfilling. I was no longer the long-suffering Daisy of old. That year, I also met my husband. He knew my old name, knew my past, and embraced it all with warmth. John and Alex held their wedding in that city. We drove there, stood at the entrance of the wedding hall, and watched the entire ceremony. Seeing John's happy smile, I also clapped to congratulate him. After it ended, I left the wedding gift money and turned to leave. In the car, I received a message from John. Sister, actually, Mom mentioned you when she was about to pass away. She said, "Your big sister is very talented. Tell her Mom is sorry." I stared at these lines of text, lost in thought for a long moment, then blinked away a tear from the corner of my eye. My husband sat beside me, silently taking my hand. I looked up and smiled at him, watching the sunset outside the window, the sun sinking in the west, kitchen smoke curling upwards. Now I have a family that truly belongs to me. Without relying on anyone, I can live brilliantly. As the rain falls, women rise. I will embrace my completely new life with my head held high.